And we're back before Let's Play Nerds, Nerd spelled with a 3, because this is the third part of what I thought was going to be the ending. This is like a pattern with me. Applejack Academy, it took 3 more sections than I thought it would. And then here, yeah, because that final chapter would took a really long time. And I hear once again, it just keeps on going. So, here we go. Starting the very last episode, I assume, unless Tartarus is bigger than I thought it was. Maybe there's a ton of side quests in it. Who knows? Let's do it.
If we don't make it, at least it'll be a great story.
Got my trusty tossball stick, got my ass-kicking boots. I'm ready, boss.
Outstanding.
You can count on us, Captain. We're crew. For real crew. That means we got each other's backs. Right?
Never thought I'd volunteer to break into a prison. Seems like your tendency towards risky behavior is rubbing off on me, Captain.
Command not recognized.
Waiting on your command, Captain.
I'm so excited to reach this conclusion. Not even at max level. We'll be fine. You're about to select the Labyrinth of Tartarus. Saves made after this point can only finish the main story on Tartarus. So, okay, wait, hold up. Let's at least drop a save. Just in case.
I am pleased to inform you that we have arrived at the labyrinth. Please be advised that the punishment for trespassing is execution. Please be advised that electrical storms on the surface of Tartarus make departure impossible at this time.
Alright.
Oh, speak of the devil. Captain, I am receiving a transmission from the prison's docking authority now.
Attention, unauthorized spacecraft. This is a maximum security installation. Your presence here is an explicit violation of UDL corporate policy. You are hereby confined to your docking platform until a ticket detailing your crimes has been filed and notarized, at which point your vessel will be seized and you will be executed. UDL does appreciate the courtesy you've done us by delivering yourself here. As a show of our deepest gratitude, we will make your execution quite swift.
Oh, shit.
Alright, I'm feeling generous. I'm transmitting the ID of a productive, law-abiding employee so you can see what one looks like before you die.
Alright.
Anyway, Tartarus Docking Authority signing up. Hang on.
Love
Another
it.
ship just pulled into your dock. Wait, is that from the Groundbreaker? What the? Pay no mind to that, just have a pleasant day.
Transmission terminated. Biometric ID received. Transferring data to external cartridge.
Yes.
How can I be of assistance? Goodbye.
Yes. Okay, so I do kind of actually, you know what? I'm gonna take one last nap. Here we go into the finale. Yep, these are the two that we want. It would be cool if kind of like the suicide mission in Mass Effect 2, if you legit got the entire crew with, but like, you know, but the rest, the two that aren't with you are like off doing other things on the ship, right? You know what I mean? Mass Effect 2.
The captain did right by us once. Now it's our turn. The board will
Oh, who's
take
this?
our job, not while I breathe. Push on, Mardat.
Who are these guys, Sublight? What's going on? I thought we were gonna sneak in, and now it's like, no, we're, oh shoot, oh no. And then these other guys break in and start, like, Okay. That, a little crazier than I wanted it to be. Well, we've got the card. So let's just... Oh, this is crazy. This is like Australia mixed with Mustafar.
At least the prison have for bars when it's got a storm like that guarding the gates.
Getting in's one thing. Let's just hope we're able to get out again.
Let's look around. There's got...
Oh yeah, it's called the Labyrinth after all.
Gotta be a few ways through here.
Don't mind me. That'll do. I thought it's a labyrinth. That was super easy. Okay. Get an idea for this. So there's 2 doors that way, or depending on our lockpick skill, I assume, which is pretty high. Oh, access storage manifest. Continue. Okay, access. Okay, darn, I was hoping for like, you know, like unlike a passageway or something. Is this like everything that's confiscated from the prisoners, or is it just a breakfast? Don't mind us, definitely. I love how like we just have a sliver left of our disguise.
All right, MS.
Okay, so I think that's...
I'm not one for rousing speeches, but the captain needs our help.
Whoa!
Get in there and fight!
So much for sneaking in if they're gonna send in all these like I like the idea of sending in all these allies that come in and help us. Like that's a great part of the finale, but it's kind of ruining the whole sneak in, get the access card that we use for my persuasive abilities. You know what I mean? What's this terminal do?
Well, look who
Whoa!
it is. I'll be damned. I was prepping the studio for our announcement, and here you are as a bonus. I had heard you'd taken a mechanic under your wing. What's the matter, girl? Couldn't find actual employment?
The captain's treated me right. Better than any of you bored folk ever have. I'm exactly where I want to be.
Ah, and the wayward doctor. Are you about done with your escapades? We have faces that need lifting, after all.
These days, I'm more interested in breaking them. Wouldn't mind taking a swing at yours.
When you go off and get yourself shot, try to avoid taking one to the face. I'll want it recognizable to show to my citizens. Haven't you heard? Phineas is working for us now. It took some doing, but employing an efficient management strategy of putting our guns to his head seems to have done the trick. Yes, he is an extraordinarily obstinate fellow, isn't he? Fine, he isn't working for us per se. Semantics, he'll do. But that's between us. As far as my adoring citizens will know, we've turned a dangerous crackpot into a working-class man. It's a miracle. Oh yes, go on, wake them up, add more mouths to feed. That'll solve our starvation problems. I don't know what half-baked plans that simpleton in a lab coat has been leading you through, but it's done. It's over. Let me ask you something, Captain. Have you at any point thought about not fucking up our entire society?
We're helping, which is more than you can say.
I'm making actual progress towards stabilization and recovery. You're just getting in the way. Oh, right. This coming from the psychopathic outlaw. Yes, I'll try to be more open-minded about your path of wanton dissent. We don't need your help.
Ooh.
I'll admit, there's no shortage of talented scientists and engineers there. Look, I'm not an unreasonable man. If you manage to storm the castle, as it were, and make it out of here with Phineas alive, I can't exactly afford more havoc than you've already caused. Fine. If you survive, you'll need someone to sell the rest of the board on your plan.
Nice. It worked. Oh, it's just kind of weird that everybody that I helped is just like, let's just send a bunch of people to die on this prison planet. It doesn't make any sense to me. Which path do I want to take? Probably this one. Okay, what random ally is blowing that up? Oh, excuse me.
Trespassers terminated.
No more on the side troopers.
Guess this is
Oh. Word. Man, my character's getting thirsty way too fast.
it, huh?
Whatever comes of this, I'm just real glad to know you.
Oh boy.
Captain, you have an uncanny talent for complicating my life.
Oh, there he is in the background.
You've disrupted the balance of power. You've upset the natural order of things. You've introduced uncertainty, and there is nothing I despise more than uncertainty. Typical. Running your mouth in the middle of a crisis. It's almost as if you delight in chaos. My report said you were simple-minded. I simply never imagined you'd be stupid enough to throw the entire system into chaos. I should have dealt with you a long time ago. You were always too dangerous to leave unchecked.
There's no way you're paying that much attention to everything going on that you knew the moment I landed in the system. I mean, probably after the whole thing with Edgewater. That was a significant thing to do.
I suppose I shouldn't be surprised by your impertinence. Leaving you alive was my greatest mistake, but it is a mistake I intend to correct. I have Dr. Wells in my custody. Once I've secured his cooperation, I can move forward with the program. I can repair the damage you've done. I can set things right.
Don't test me. It's bad for your health.
I'm aware of your propensity for violence. Halcyon is a bloodier place because of you. I take no pleasure in this, you know. I simply have no other option. Leaving you alive is too great a risk. Goodbye, Captain. I had a feeling you'd say that. This prison is equipped with an automechanical warden. I've had it programmed to eliminate you on sight and rinse your remains down a drain. And don't worry, I will inform Dr. Wells that you died heroically, or something.
Oh, look, that must be it. You have to defeat this ram.
You got nimble fingers, Captain.
Nice. Oh, that was easy. Is that the final boss?
Why won't you just die? It's nothing personal, I swear.
Promise, I could be wrong,
Get me out of here!
but I feel like her as a character kind of didn't do a single thing until just now. Like, it would have been nice if she was introduced a little sooner. Oh.
You don't know how glad I am to see you. You did the right thing. Akande was a monster. Her death was much deserved, and long overdue. And you lunatic, you broke into the board's own fortress just to rescue one doddering old man. You are absolutely out of your mind, and I can't begin to thank you enough. Ah, all in a day's work for you, huh? You've broken the board's stranglehold on this colony, and you saved my life. But there's still so much we have yet to accomplish. You and I are going to have to work harder than ever to save Halcyon. I'm afraid the situation is far worse than any of us ever anticipated. I would like nothing more than to celebrate this victory, but we have a serious problem on our hands. Earth has gone dark. We haven't received a single message in 3 years. There's been no communication, no signals, nothing. 2 years ago, the Earth's Directorate's frigate disappeared on their way back to Earth. We don't know what they discovered when they arrived, or if they arrived at all.
They haven't exactly been hands-on around here anyway. So there's one less rubber stamp to worry about.
Earth is humanity's home planet, Miss Fenhill. The psychological effects of losing our original home will be devastating.
You mean
Sort of.
we're all alone out here?
I don't think that would actually bother too many people.
I'm afraid so, Miss Holcomb.
It'd be upsetting, but they'd be like, well, good thing we're here. We can still keep humanity going.
An option. We're in serious trouble, my friend. Do you know what this means for Halcyon? We can't rely on Earth for support anymore. We've been cut loose. We're entirely on our own. Yes, you're right. The road is long. We haven't a moment to waste. We must begin the revival process immediately, starting with the Hope's brightest minds. And then we're going to fix this damn colony, one problem at a time. We're going to need a leader, and I can't imagine a better person for the job than you. What do you say, old friend? Will you help us?
That's me.
I see. Well, you've certainly earned a treat for yourself. I'll just get on with reviving the other colonists and saving Halcyon, then. Enjoy your creamed ice, or whatever you call it.
Funny.
The OSI teaches that everything in the universe happens according to the grand plan. But the stranger that arrived in Halcyon was an unplanned variable. From the moment he landed in Emerald Vale, his actions altered the course of history. The events on Tartarus brought about the end of the Board's authority. But the Board's mistakes would haunt the colony for decades to come. The damage they left behind would require the work of a generation to repair. Dr. Phineas Wells began reviving a handful of the Hope's colonists. Engineers, scientists, technicians, and intellectuals. They were among the brightest minds the Earth had ever sent out into the stars. The Hope scientists and engineers woke up in a colony descending headlong into total collapse. With no way to return to Earth, they had no choice but to band together and devote themselves to the cause of saving Halcyon. The people of Halcyon were nothing if not hardy. In the absence of the Board's authority, many of the colony's settlements banded together with a single purpose in mind: survival. Life was especially hard in the years to come. Some towns dissolved by attrition and starvation, but most of them found a way to carry on. In the years to come, Halcyon was forced to reckon with its newfound freedom. The Board was gone, and for better or worse, the colony was responsible for its own destiny. Sanjar's civil liberties and worker-centric policies were slow to catch on with the other corporations. But as Halcyon began its long, arduous journey toward recovery, many of Terra 2's smaller townships started adopting MSI's alternative corporate structure, and eventually became entirely self-sufficient. In the coming years, many of these townships managed to eke by, where otherwise they might have starved. Consumed by paranoia, Lilia Hagen took Sublight Salvage in a controversial direction, openly accusing Board officials of an extraterrestrial conspiracy. One day, an accident at the Groundbreaker's docking bay silenced her forever. Time would tell if her replacement could keep the Sublight family together. After returning to Edgewater, the deserters negotiated workplace reforms with Reed Thompson, including a single day of rest, which came to be known as a weekend. As the world around him changed, Thompson found himself pining for the old days. He was known to spend his weekends in the cantina, nursing one of the few remaining bottles of Zero G, and repeating to himself, "It's not the best choice, it's Spacer's choice." As for Adelaide McDevitt, she tended to her garden in solitude for another year before passing away. Her body was discovered some months later, when Reed Thompson paid her a visit in an effort to make amends. Her remains were buried in a place of honor, underneath the floor of the Edgewater Cannery. Reed believed this was what she always wanted. Under the leadership of Junlei Tennyson, the Groundbreaker held firm against corporate influence. The ship's mechanical stability gave Junlei the time to educate a promising generation of engineers, schooled in her family's traditions. The future of the Groundbreaker looks promising. The rediscovery of the Hope and the abandonment of the Lifetime Employment Program forced Byzantium to come to terms with some uncomfortable realities about the state of Halcyon. While Byzantines were reluctant to surrender the luxuries they'd grown accustomed to, the Board's diminished authority gave them little choice in the matter. Nearly everyone had to learn to make do with less. Some even had to get jobs. It was a dark time indeed. Even the Gorgon asteroid, though a distant enigma to most of Halcyon.
Oh, that's
Show
cool.
the aftershocks of your actions. Olivia and Minnie Ambrose worked together to cure the marauders Adrena Time had created. Through their
They
partnership
throw the
as
DLC
scientist
into the
and
ending
administrator,
conclusion. That's
they
great.
discovered the harmony that had eluded them as mother and daughter. And through years of patience and effort, they discovered a means to wean Halcyon from the scourge of Adrena Time. Their work eventually allowed Wells and his scientists to treat many of Halcyon's marauders. As their addiction waned, the colonists who had lived for so long under the thrall of Adrena Time returned to their communities and loved ones, and joined in the effort to save Halcyon. In spite of everything, the Gorgon asteroid remained a sobering reminder of the potential for progress and disaster in humanity's most ambitious efforts. The Rizzo's company in Halcyon dissolved after the collapse of the board. Needless to say, the launch of Spectrum Brown was indefinitely delayed. A stockpile of Spectrum Brown remains buried deep beneath the ruins of the old distillery, abandoned to time and attrition. With the dissolution of the board, Ruth Bellamy found herself without the two constants in her life: Byzantine culture and her sister Belinda. In the face of this new reality, she struggled to find a direction for her life. The colony had moved on from Halcyon Helen and would require new heroes in the years to come. And so, Ruth Bellamy decided it was time to exit stage left. She quietly disappeared from public view. The dissolution of the board did not mean the dissolution of the ambitions of Cedric Kincannon, the charismatic leader of Sublight Underground. Cedric offered Slug's transportation services to the newly thawed colonists and set to work ferrying resources and food wherever they were most needed. For better or worse, Slug headgear became fashionable in the following years. As the board began to disintegrate, Spencer Woolrich found himself at a crossroads. Cling to what little stardom remained to him, or help usher Halcyon into its new future. To the surprise of many, perhaps himself most of all, Spencer chose the latter option. Having learned a variety of different skills in the many different roles played throughout his lengthy career, Spencer founded a radio serial dedicated to staying alive despite the odds. His subjects included how to survive violent encounters with only grazing wounds, dispense pithy one-liners for tense scenarios, and, of course, how to look good doing both.
That's nice.
After a brief attempt at dating Helen as one person rather than two, which both Bertie and Helen found too strange, Bertie struck out on his own to try his hand at raising woolly cows. Many of his former Rangers teammates soon followed, accompanied by the woolly cow the team had originally plied with alcohol. The dairy farm thrived under Bertie's leadership and care. The Dairy Rangers privately believed that
There's a fair amount of real-life celebrities that went on to farming, right?
one brave enough to say this to
I'm pretty
his face
sure.
was promptly headbutted.
Like, isn't that a common, like, if a celebrity steps back from their
Many of the
position,
Prophet's old
they become a
customers
farmer?
no longer
I'm
found
pretty sure.
quite the same
There's at least two
value in
examples.
productivity seminars that they once had. With her business drying up, the Prophet chose to take her followers down a new path. Months later, salvagers on Eridanos found clues leading them to a seemingly abandoned bunker out in the wilderness. Inside, they discovered horribly mangled corpses, sacrificed to a blood-scrawled portrait of a sprat-headed deity. The Prophet was not among the bodies. Your influence shifted Ellie's perspective,
Nice.
She finally admitted, albeit grudgingly, that she just might need other people. Sometimes. With a steady income from the life insurance payouts, she was finally able to afford a ship of her own. She hired a small crew and flew supply missions to communities on the fringe. Some of them were even legal. Life in Halcyon was sobering for Felix Millstone. The grand revolution he dreamed of never came. There was no great awakening for the colony, no celebrations in the streets. There was only the hard, desperate work of trying to repair a broken colony. Felix never had a head for numbers, but if there was labor to be done, he was there to help. Eventually, Felix realized that the work of a revolution was done with two hands. As much as he enjoyed...
Oh, that's a nice shot.
Reliable, the vicar, known as Max, eventually decided that it was time to move on, to live out the life he had sought so long to create. He knew there were many in the colony who carried burdens much worse than the ones he had struggled with, and he devoted himself to easing their suffering wherever he could. He only ever took up arms again to defend the defenseless. Unshackled from a lifetime of striving and fighting the universe and himself, Vicar Maximilian de Soto was finally at peace. Once the matter with the Hope colonists was resolved, Junlei bashfully asked Parvati if she'd like to join her permanently on the Groundbreaker, and Parvati enthusiastically, if somewhat awkwardly, agreed. The stories of her adventures spread across the colony, and Parvati soon found herself the center of attention. Having served as the engineer of a renowned spacecraft, tramp freighters and wildcat miners sought her out by name. And in no time, she was a fixture in the Groundbreaker's mechanical ecosystem. She and Junlei were never far apart. Nyoka returned to Monarch to take another crack at making a permanent life for herself. She formed the Charon Group, an MSI subsidiary of ragtag survivalists and wilderness experts. Anyone in need of a guide, or just looking to throw back a beer and swap stories, could find her camping on the trail, or clearing an infestation. The SAM unit that accompanied was spread awareness of the product line's superior sanitation and maintenance capabilities across what was left of the colony. This led to a boost in SAM unit sales. Did you know that SAM units are the longest-lasting, toughest-acting cleaning solution in Halcyon? Minister Clark was released from house arrest, and his contact with you gave him a sense of renewed purpose and vigor. Once it became clear that no help would be coming from Earth, he threw his considerable efforts and talents into helping Halcyon manage the crisis before it. Chairman Rockwell served as the public face for the changes in Halcyon to come. Whenever you needed strings pulled or a voice to sell a policy change, Rockwell was only too happy to oblige.
Wow.
As for Dr. Phineas Wells, he spent his remaining years in his orbital lab. Though he was always haunted by the failures of his past, he was determined to make things right by building toward the future. The revival project was hard and painful work, but in the end, despite limited resources, over half the Hope's colonists were successfully revived. Even after Wells passed away, the Hope scientists and engineers worked night and day to pull Halcyon from the brink of collapse. Their efforts continue to this day, which may be reason enough for optimism. Dr. Wells laid the groundwork for the project to save the colony, but he would never live to see the fruits of his labor. He passed away a few years later. His work was carried on by the scientists and engineers he revived. Life will never be the same in Halcyon. It is widely agreed that the colony has a chance of stabilizing within a generation, owing to the hard work and determination of the surviving colonists. Recovery is a distant goal, and the path is long and uncertain. But the people of Halcyon carry on, determined as ever. And what about you, the unplanned variable in the history of Halcyon? You brought an end to the chaos on Tartarus, and left Dr. Wells to save Halcyon on his own. You had more pressing matters to attend to. As you tasted your first scoop of Rizzo's partially emulsified, semi-frozen milk-like dessert, you realized something.
That's
all
funny.
your troubles, all your adventures, all your struggles and choices, they had all led to this single moment. And it was all worth it. No one knows what's happened to Earth, and no one knows what the future has in store for Halcyon. All we know for certain is this: the name of the Unreliable and that of its intrepid captain will remain the subject of countless stories for years to come.
Nice. Oh man, that was a really cool ending. I'm very curious as far as like all those slides and everything, like what other options there are, right? Like choices make different things. It's pretty hilarious that not only did the dumb dialogue lead to a funny line about "I just want ice cream," it actually led to the narrator giving a whole speech about your enjoyment of the ice cream, which is great. Honestly, that's just a fun way to wrap things up. I'm impressed. I'm impressed by that whole end sequence as a whole. Because, like, if you guys, if anyone remembers Mass Effect 3, famously bad ending, and then they released an update to it that added a slideshow narration to it, and it was like, meh, not really helping. This slideshow was just, I mean, the shots were gorgeous. While still within the aesthetic of the game already, and there was a lot of humor throughout that. So that just shows good writing actually is what Mass Effect 3's ending was missing. It didn't have that same oomph that this does. That was just a delight. I really enjoyed that ending. I enjoyed this game as a whole. Man, this game's fun. I'm glad I finally got to finish it for once. Alright, I just wanted to quiet down the credits so I could speak over that. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoyed this playthrough. My attempt to make, hey, here's a dumb dialogue playthrough if anyone wants to see it. And then it turned into a semi-capable gamer playing it in the hardest difficulty possible. So that's two things that either made this playthrough really annoying or really entertaining. Yeah, thank you for watching, especially if you've been watching the whole series. That's kind of crazy. I'm just a guy throwing this out there and hoping that it's entertaining enough for people to be interested. If anything, just watching it to get the highlights of the dumb dialogue, and the DLC was definitely worth playing through with dumb dialogue, especially the murder mystery having the twist of I'm the one that did it. It's fun. So yeah, that's the conclusion of my Outer Worlds playthrough. Please leave a comment with suggestion, thoughts on other games to play, whether they're similar, whether they're different. Because yeah, there are some aspects of this that made for a good playthrough, and there are aspects of this that made it real difficult. Mainly the long walks and the inventory management. Yeah, or leave a comment below with your favorite moment of this playthrough. Yeah, I've got other games I'm playing through that I've already started, so check out some of those. I'm gonna, when those finish up, I'm then gonna start playing more games. So yeah, keep in tune for that. Subscribe if you want to, because even though my weekly is pretty consistent, anytime a new game pops up, you need to be notified of that. Yeah, I think that's all I got to say. Enjoy your day.